Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're a homeowner in San Diego trying to breathe cleaner air without falling for all those pushy sales tactics, you are in exactly the right place today. We're cutting straight through the fluff. We're looking at a super practical guide on whole home air purifiers, tailored specifically for our unique Southern California climate. Let's decode all the jargon and see how the data says you can realistically save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on your HVAC setup. Okay, let's dive into this. If you've ever looked into improving your home's air quality, you've probably been absolutely bombarded with options, right? You've got UV lights, ionizers, photocatalytic oxidizers. I mean, it sounds like a sci-fi movie. But the burning question every homeowner actually has is just this: which whole home air purifier actually works? We want the truth about what's going to make a tangible difference in the air we breathe every single day, without overcomplicating the whole shebang. So here is the bottom line up front. You really don't need some $1,500 gadget to get clean air in your house. For the vast majority of San Diego homes, the magic number is actually somewhere between $450 and $650. That's the installed cost for a 4 to 5-inch MERV 13 media filter cabinet. And honestly, that's it. That is the gold standard for residential air quality. It captures the smoke, the pollen, the dust, and it does it at a fraction of the cost of those exotic high-tech systems that get pushed so heavily. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is simple. Filtration is the foundation. Everything else is just a supplement. You see, the biggest mistake homeowners make is rushing out to buy some exotic add-on technology before they've even fixed their basic filter setup. A thin, cheap 1-inch filter? That's just not going to protect your lungs. And slapping a fancy UV light next to a bad filter? Well, it's literally like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. You've got to get the thick, high-MERV media filtration right first. Once that foundation is solid, you might realize you don't even need anything else. And this brilliantly illustrates why context matters so much. We really can't talk about air quality in a vacuum, especially here. San Diego has 4 very specific, highly localized threats. First up, the big one, fine PM 2.5 wildfire smoke, which mostly hits us from September to November. Second, we've got heavy oak and eucalyptus pollen in the winter and spring. Third, if you live on the coast, say Imperial Beach up to Oceanside, you've got that marine layer causing humidity and mold. And fourth, if you're inland in places like Ramona or Fallbrook, you are dealing with heavy agricultural and road dust. The point is, your air purifier needs to handle your specific local threat, not just some generic national average. Now, before we start comparing all the tech, let's just quickly define our terms. When we say whole home air purifier, we're talking about a device permanently installed directly onto your home's ducted HVAC system. Basically, when your blower runs, every single cubic foot of air circulating through your house passes through this system and gets treated. This is totally different from those standalone plug-in units you might buy that sit in the corner of your living room and only clean that one specific space. So, when we compare the 5 main systems out there, a pretty clear picture emerges. The MERV 13 media cabinet, like we just discussed, is the absolute champion for almost every home. Then you've got a whole house HEPA bypass. Now this is amazing at filtering out 99.97% of particles, but it comes at a really steep cost, and honestly, it's really only necessary for severe asthma or extreme smoke prep. Next up is UVC at the coil. This one is great for humid coastal homes to kill mold on wet surfaces, but it doesn't filter dust at all. Then there's PCO, which handles very niche odors. And finally, bipolar ionization, which is rarely, if ever, the right first buy. Notice how those pricier technologies really only solve very narrow problems? They just aren't magical cure-alls for general air quality. To put that into perspective, let's look at the average installed costs for San Diego in 2026. The price anchoring here is super interesting. Notice where that MERV 13 cabinet sits? Right in the middle, at an average of $550. I mean, you could spend well over $1,000 on a HEPA bypass or hundreds on a UVC lamp, plus all the ongoing costs of replacing those expensive bulbs and cartridges. But the media cabinet, it sits perfectly in the sweet spot. It's highly affordable to install, incredibly effective, and really cheap to maintain, because replacement filters only run about $60 to $90 every 6 to 12 months. The source actually stops to do some really important myth-busting here. They point out that UVC and ionizers do almost nothing for smoke, because smoke is particulate matter, not a living organism. So if you're buying a UV light to protect your family from Santa Ana wildfire smoke, you're basically wasting your money. UV only affects living things like mold on a wet AC coil. Plus, some ionizers and PCO devices actually produce ozone as a byproduct. The California Air Resources Board, or CARB, heavily regulates this because ozone is a known lung irritant. If you have asthma, ozone is literally the last thing you want indoors. Always check for that CARB certification if you're looking at ionizers, but honestly, a media cabinet does the heavy lifting with absolutely zero ozone risk. So a question that comes up a ton is, should I get a whole home system or should I just buy a few portable air purifiers? We really have to draw a hard line between these two approaches because they do completely different jobs. A whole home system treats the entire house, sure, but only when the HVAC blower is actively running. A portable unit, on the other hand, runs independently, but it only treats a single targeted room based on its clean air delivery rate, or CAD. Simply put, a portable can't protect the whole house, and a whole house system can't give one specific room maximum concentrated protection overnight. And that leads to a really interesting conclusion from the source material. The two aren't rivals, they're actually teammates. If you live in a smoke-sensitive household here in San Diego, the absolute strongest, most impenetrable setup is not buying some $1,000 induct ionizing gadget. No way. The best setup is combining forces. You install a relatively inexpensive MERV 13 media cabinet on your HVAC to handle the whole house during the day, and then you put one high-quality portable HEPA unit in the bedroom to run at night while you're sleeping. That right there is the ultimate air quality playbook. All right, let's make this actionable. Based on everything we've learned, the guide offers a highly practical step-by-step playbook. Step 1, physically go to your HVAC unit today and check your filter slot. If you've only got a 1-inch slot, well, you found your weak link. Step 2, have a licensed contractor upgrade that to a 4 to 5-inch MERV 13 media cabinet. That thicker filter has 4 times the surface area, which means you get great filtration without choking your system. And step 3, add that portable HEPA unit in your bedroom for targeted nighttime protection. Which brings us to our final question for you to consider. Are you ready to stop paying for marketing and start filtering what actually matters? You now have the knowledge to look past all those fancy sales brochures. You know that filtration is your foundation. You know the specific threats in your local air, and you know exactly where the sweet spot is for your budget. Don't let anyone sell you an expensive solution to a problem you simply don't have. Take control of your home's air quality, make the smart, localized HVAC decision, and breathe easier knowing you did it right. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep on learning.